Welcome to Dark Moon Cards and Games. Visit our website for Pokemon TCG singles, event play mats, and imported Japanese collectible figures. Come play in one of our TCG or video game events, or shop our full range of licensed imported Pokemon products at a convention near you. Hey guys, this is Hee-Haw from Dark Moon Cards and Games. As we have all been ordered to not leave our homes now by our illustrious Governor Ralph Northam, I thought it might be a fun break to look at a deck that is an old favorite of mine. First want to show you the original one, and then we'll look at the attempted update that I made. And yes, by looking at the pictures, this is a Unbroken Bonds Lucario deck. The original list is the list that I played at the 2019 National Championships, or I guess now the North American Internationals, or whatever. This play Pokemon has become so global and wonderful. But anyway, it was last season's Nationals, which was the first large-scale event, I believe, involving Reshiram and Charizard GX, or Reshizard, as it became known. The format at that time was still heavy with a lot of just Zapdos Guzma with electric-powered decks. Quagsire, I know, was popular. There's a bunch of Giratina Malamar variants out there. I can't remember what else they had in them at the moment. Probably an Necrozma GX, maybe. But yeah, basically Reshizard dominated that field. Was that time there was that small, kind of unfortunate window where Reshizard had access to Choice Band, which made every other tag team out at that time, for the most part, pretty much irrelevant. And just because Reshizard could one-hit everything. There was some Pikarom there, I believe. I think few dared to try any others, like Gardevoir Sylveon or Pheromosa Buzzball. The tournament, I believe, also was before Mewtwo Mew was either out or legal for play. I forget where that line was at that moment. And plus, as it turned out, they were kind of unseen at the time, but Baby Blacephalon and Blacephalon Naganadel had strong showings there as well. So what did I do? I played Lucario. And let me put this list up to look at for the moment. And bear with me, this was not as dumb an idea as it seems, or at least was not at the time. This deck tested very well, especially against Zapdos and Malamar decks and Quagsire. I played multiple games against Reshizard and split a lot of those matches, just because in that matchup you were two-hitting them, or trying to two-hit them, especially with Shrine and Choice Band of your own, and taking 3 prizes while they were only taking 1 prize at a time. It just kind of really depended who set up first. With this Lucario deck, the caveat was this: almost every matchup turned into a long back-and-forth game, often very close ones that ate up a lot of clock. So if you dropped the first game, you would likely lose the match, as you would just basically run out of time. And as a result of just the way that kind of played out, I ended up with a lot of ties. But I did get some decent wins there. I got wins over Malamar. I think I beat 2 Zapdos decks. Beat a Baby Blacephalon, which I'm still not sure how that happened, other than the opponent just really didn't play it very well. And I also probably delivered the most crushing defeat of any deck I've ever played. And that was against maybe the only person there playing Gardevoir Sylveon. I think if I remember how that match went correctly, I won the first game in 3 turns and game 2 in 5 turns. And kind of knew that was going to turn out that way. I apologized as soon as my opponent flipped over Gardevoir Sylveon, just for what was about to happen, and it happened pretty much like I thought it would. All of the losses, save 1, were to Baby Blacephalon and Reshizard. I think as I got up to kind of the higher tables after a couple wins, I lost a match somewhere in that middle portion of the day to Zapdos. But looking at this deck, the concept is very simple. It's basically just like every other single prize deck. You try to attack every turn. In this case with Lucario for 130 damage. Yeah, at the time with Choice Band it could be 160 on occasion, but most of the time that wasn't the tool you were using. Plus shrine damage, and then you would just try to wall on your opponent's turn with a Mental Core Barrier, which reduces the damage done to you by 70, basically making Lucario a 200 HP stage 1 one prize Pokemon, which is pretty gross. Still good now as far as that goes. But Lucario seems to be the card designed to work with Barrier from Pokemon. Mental Core Barrier often negated half, and in some cases all damage done to Lucario, especially in those Zapdos matchups. The Barrier plus Resistance, which is a Psychic Resistance, was amazing against the Malamar decks. Back to the 130 damage. As that damage is only activated by a tool being attached, you could all but guarantee that happening each turn thanks to Magearna and its Change Clothes ability. All the other tools, Choice Band, Experience Share, Skateboard, you could just play them anywhere just to keep them on the field for later. And if you missed a barrier on that turn, from shuffling and drawing, whatever, you could just grab one of those and attach it to Lucario. And it was beautiful because you could just take it back off on the next turn if that wasn't the tool that you needed that turn. Another trick I learned was to attach a barrier to anybody on your field before you shuffled your hand away or did something else, or used Zebstrika. Then just get it back in your hand, even if you didn't use it that turn. That way you would never lose the tool until you actually needed it. As you look at the original list, I think the biggest error I made in the build, and it was the one that cost me so many of those wins, was not including counter energy, which was still legal at the time. Falling behind in energy attachments and not attacking on a turn, especially the Zapdos matchups, turn those games that should have and could have been wins into ties, as most of the time in that matchup they would just run out of steam and start bouncing off your barriers once you got set up. With the two rescue stretchers, you could keep an endless stream of Lucario or Magearna or whatever you needed against anything. But falling behind in prizes by more than one, definitely two, was usually just too much to overcome. It's really too devastating if you fell very far behind. As for the original list, I thought this list was gone, but I found a picture of it where I'd shared it with a friend quite a while ago. So from that picture I was able to rebuild this thing online. And then after doing so, I thought I would try to update it, which was remarkably easy to do. Just to make this thing legal for standard, I left the Pokemon the same. There's nothing there is rotated out yet. I replaced the Nest and Ultra Balls with Quick Ball and Evolution Incense. Replaced the Guzmas with the Catcher and Great Catcher. I replaced Rescue Stretchers for the two different rods, Eric and Lily. Those were pretty easy just to swap out for Marnie and Professor's Research. And then I just replaced the rotated tools for newer ones. I played the new version and it plays about the same as the old one. This deck is just very consistent. It's not a real complicated strategy. It's not too hard to really pilot. I think it's pretty easy for anybody new to the game to pick up and play, and it's obviously very cheap to build. I guess the only catch there is the Jirachi. And unfortunately in this list I don't think there's a very good replacement for it. As far as how relevant it is, I don't know that hitting 130 is enough at the moment. You can hit 140 with the Vitality Band, and you still get some shrine damage against some decks. Some decks that doesn't come into play at all. And I don't think there's really anything in the format right now that you're hitting for weakness. I wish I had been able to play a little bit more when Gardevoir Sylveon had made its surge into the format and was winning a bunch of tournaments there several months in a row. I would have loved to have shown up at one of those with this and just drove people crazy. But whether or not this is anything serious or not, probably is not. I don't know, but I think it's fun. It's worth looking at. I think things that could change in this list, just looking at my rebuild of it, is you could change the Zebstrika line out for probably Zacian V. It might be a little bit easier to fit into there. It might give you room for something else. And after playing it a few times, I might switch it back to Lily or Erica's or a different supporter for instead of the Professor's Research. Research gives you awesome draw power, but this is not a deck where you want to throw a lot of things away, especially the tools. But it may be that you keep a line of research in it and maybe put an Orangaroo for that resource management or something like that in there. I've mentioned it here before that I don't want to discuss mainstream decks and just beat those into the ground any more than they already are at this point. With that being said, I'm pretty sure that this will be a first for most of you watching. Making decks like this is what attracted me to this game, and it is still my favorite aspect of Pokemon. Unfortunately, true rogues like this don't pop up very often, and even if they do, and they do have a little bit of success, thanks to the Tweeter web, they get overplayed pretty quickly. I'll stay off the stump about how the game has changed in that way. Just because complaining about that won't change any of it. But if you're unnecessarily locked in your home, like we are in Virginia now, until June. Didn't I hear something about counties on this side of the state wanting to leave and join West Virginia? Sounds better every time I hear it. Anyway, if you are in, throw this deck together, either for real or online, and just have some fun with it. And speaking of the trading card game online, our screen name, if I don't think we've ever shared that here, is just Fincastle Gym. So search us out if you want to play some games online. It's random times pretty much when either Logan or myself are online. But if you see us, play a game with us. And until next time, we will see you at the gym. In our mind, I guess. Later. Thanks for watching today's video. Please help support our channel by liking this video, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content.